In this lecture, we are going to discuss Escherichia coli, also known as E. coli, the most important gram-negative bacteria that causes lot of diseases. In this lecture, we will cover all aspects of the Escherichia coli. And after watching this video, you will get clear concept regarding the E. coli. So without wasting time, let's get started. First of all, we will look at the property of the gram-negative bacteria, which is the Escherichia coli. Whenever you listen the word gram negative, it means that it will look pink color after the gram staining. And whenever you listen the word gram positive, that bacteria will look purple in color after the gram staining. So these bacteria gram negative will look pink in color. This is the important properties. And Escherichia coli having flagella all around its body, and that condition is called the peritrichus, when you see the flagella all around its body. Next property, it's a facultative anaerobe. It can survive in oxygen and without oxygen, in aerobic and anaerobic conditions. So that's why we called it facultative anaerobes. Second, it grows on the McConnell agar and it produces the pink colonies because it ferments the lactose that is present in the McConnell agar. So it produces the pink colonies. Otherwise, those bacteria that don't ferment the lactose, that produce the colorless colonies. So it ferments the lactose, so that way it produces the pink colonies on the McConnell agar, which is the favorite McConnell agar for the gram-negative bacteria. It can also grow on the EMB agar, eosine methylene blue agar, and in that agar it produces the metallic green shield on the EMB agar. After that, you will also see the three most important antigen that are also used in the diagnosis of the E. coli. First is the somatic antigen, second is the flagellal antigen, and third is the capsular antigen. It means that cell wall can also act as antigen, flagella can also act as antigen, and the capsule can also act as antigen. So these are the most important antigen which you have to remember about the E. coli, because these antigen will used for the diagnosis purposes. Next, biochemical features. What biochemical test will be positive regarding the E. coli? So indole will be positive. Escherichia coli, E. coli, indole test is positive. Methyl red also positive. Vogus proscour is negative, and the citrate is also negative. So two positive tests and two negative tests. So you have to remember these tests regarding the E. coli. So it helps in the proper diagnosis of the E. coli. Habitat. It's a normal flora of our intestine. It's normally present in our intestine because it's a normal flora. But it can also be present in the soil and the water that is contaminated with the stool, and it can also be present in the contaminated food that is contaminated by the stool, because it's secretes in the stool. So that is important thing which you have to remember about the E. coli. E. coli, whenever E. coli present in the intestine, it normally doesn't cause any problem. Whenever it displays its position or produces different toxin, then it causes the different diseases. Like whenever E. coli enter into the urinary tract, then it causes the UTI. So that is the important thing, specifically in case of female, due to the anatomical position, because the anus and the urethra is close in case of female, while anus and the urethra in case of male is far apart. So that's why it mostly causes the UTI in the female due to her anatomy. Next, we will see the most important E. coli strains. We will see 7 most important strains, and these strains causes the different diseases. First is the Enteropathic E. coli, EPEC. It causes the infantile diarrhea, and that is the important thing. It also disrupts the villi that is present in the small intestine. Villi present in the small intestine, and also disrupt the absorption of the food. So that is the important thing. enteropathic E. coli. This is the first strain. Second is the enterotoxigenic E. coli, and it causes the travelers and the childhood diarrhea. Two most important toxin produced by this strain: heat labile toxin and the heat stable toxin. And these toxins ultimately remove the salts from the enterocytes, cells of the intestine, and ultimately water moves along with that, and ultimately you will see the diarrhea, loose motion in that case. Third one is the Enterohemorrhagic E. coli. As the name indicates, you will see the blood in that case. So most important state regarding this one, E. coli, which is strain O157 and H7. So again, you have to remember O means somatic antigen and H for flagellal antigen. Lot of somatic antigens and the flagellal antigen present in that case, but the most specifically O157 and H7 strain causes the enterohemorrhagic problem. Like it produces the Shiga-like toxin, which is also known as the verotoxin, and it causes the stool with the blood. So that is the important thing. You will see the blood in the stool in that case. But most important thing which you have to remember about this enterohemorrhagic E. coli, in that case, whenever patient is affected by enterohemorrhagic E. coli, if the patient take fluoroquinolone whenever he or she is affected by the enterohemorrhagic E. coli, then in that case it produces a problem, and that problem is called the hemolytic uremic syndrome, HUS. So in that case you will see the hemolytic uremic syndrome. Most probably this happens when the patient affected by this strain takes the fluoroquinolone, then ultimately that patient go towards the hemolytic uremic syndrome. And in this syndrome you will see the three most important features: hemolytic anemia, and in that case in the peripheral smear you will see the schistocytes, fragmented RBCs. Next, thrombocytopenia, reduce in the platelets count when you go towards the CBC report, and acute renal failure. So these are the three most important manifestation in the HUS, hemolytic uremic syndrome. That is the most important thing. Next, Enteroinvasive E. coli. It causes the dysentery-like illness. It means that blood also present in that case in the stool. It also causes the fever, abdominal cramps, and the blood and pus in the stool present in that case. So that is the important thing, Enteroinvasive E. coli. Next is the enteroaggregative E. coli. It causes the persistent diarrhea in the children and the HIV patients, immunocompromised patients. So you have to remember it. Next is the uropathogenic E. coli. As the name indicates, uro, it affects the urinary tract. It causes the UTI, urinary tract infection. And in that case, you will see the cystitis. If the infections enter into the bladder, urinary bladder, then it is called the cystitis. When it goes towards the kidney, then it causes the pyelonephritis. We have to remember it in the urinary tract. First is the urethra, second is the urinary bladder, and third is the, you will see, ureter, and last is the kidney. So these are the four most important components present in our urinary system. Next, neonatal meningitis E. coli. It causes the meningitis in the newborns. So these are the different strains that causes the different diseases. So what type of diseases? If it disrupts the GIT tract, gastrointestinal tract, in that case you will see the diarrhea. It can be watery, it can be bloody diarrhea. Next, UTI, urinary tract infection. If it affects the urinary bladder, then it is called the cystitis. If it affects the kidney, that it is called the pyelonephritis. In the CNS, that you will see the meningitis. If it affects the meninges, and in the blood, it causes the septicemia. So it actually presents symptoms according to its location. Next, lab diagnosis. What type of sample we will take? We will take it according to the clinical manifestations. Like we can take the stools. If it presents according to the GIT tract, we can also take the urine sample in case of UTI, urinary tract infection. We can also take the CSF in case of meningitis. So we will decide what sample we require. It will decide the manifestation, clinical manifestation, how patient present with the symptoms. So that will decide what type of sample we will take from the patient. And in case of septicemia, we will take the blood. Next, culture media we have discussed. McConkey. In the McConkey, it produces the pink colonies because it ferments the lactose. And EMB, eosin methylene blue, produces the metallic green sheen on this media. Serotype somatic O, flagellar H antigen, and the capsular represented by the K antigen. So these are the important antigens and we can detect it accordingly. Biochemical, IMVIC, I for indole, M for methyl red, VI, Vogus proscover, and C for citrate. So these are the four most important biochemical tests regarding this E. coli. In the treatment, in the uncomplicated UTI, so what type of antibiotics? Trimethoprim, sulfamethoxazole, nitrofurantoin, and fluoroquinolones. That is the important thing. In case of severe infections, you can also go toward the cephalosporin and the carbapenem. But important thing, Enterohemorrhagic E. coli. In that case, if the patient is affected by this strain of the E. coli, then you will never use the fluoroquinolones, because if you use, then the probability of developing the hemolytic uremic syndrome will increase. So don't use fluoroquinolones in such type of strain, otherwise you will have to face the hemolytic uremic syndrome. So this is all about the Escherichia coli. If you still have any question, you may ask in the comment section. Thank you so much.